Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for joining for today's Bhagavad Gita discussion. We are reading from 12th chapter, Srimad Bhagavad Gita, devotional service. Let us start auspicious prayers. Hare Krishna. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Dinamine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Prapanna Parijataya Totra Vetraikapanaya Jnanamudraya Krishnaya Gitamrita Duhe Namaha Hare Krishna. So there are three sections in this chapter. The first section explains how worshipping of personal form is greater than the impersonal Brahman. Brahman means the impersonal aspect of Krishna. We'll see what is Brahman more in detail later on. And the next section explains different stages of bhakti, progressive stages, different levels in bhakti ladder. And then next section about the qualities that help us approach Krishna. So we are in first section. We have completed about 3 shlokas. The first shloka, Arjuna inquires, "Oh Krishna, which is the best process, the best way of worship? Worshipping you as a personal form or worshipping the impersonal Brahman, the unmanifest?" We have seen that just like there is a sun, there's a sunlight, there is a sun globe, and there is a sun god. These three things, sunlight, sun globe, and sun god. Similarly, God also can be realized in different aspects, different levels. Like the sunlight is considered as Brahman, which is present, pervaded everywhere. Just like the sunlight is present everywhere. The second aspect is sun globe as a Paramatma. And the third aspect is sun god, personal god, as a Krishna in the personal form, two-handed form, the original Adi Purusha. So this is a personal level and impersonal aspect of Krishna. So now the question is, which one is the best perfect process, perfect way of worshipping you, Krishna? Is it worshipping you as I see you as a personal form or as an impersonal Brahman? For this question, Krishna gives a clear-cut answer. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Maya Veshya Mano Ye Mam Nitya Yukta Upasyate Shraddhaya Paryopetas Te Me Yukta Tamo Mata. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Those who fix their minds on my personal form and are always engaged in worshipping me with great transcendental faith are considered by me to be most perfect." So there's a very clear-cut answer that Krishna is giving, that worshipping me in my personal form, Krishna here says mam, tama, mata. So here Krishna is saying that me, worshipping me as a personal form, keeping your mind fixed on me with full transcendental faith, great faith, only that worship is considered the perfect one. And he continues explaining it in 12.3 and 12.4. These two slokas today we will discuss. Let me recite the sloka. Yetvaksharam anirdeshyam avyaktam paryupasate sarvatragam achintyam cha kutastam achalam dhruvam. 12.4 Sanniyamendriya gramam sarvatra samabuddhaya te prapnuvanti mam eva sarvabhuta hite ratah. Can someone read the translation? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
But those who fully worship the unmanifested, that which lies beyond the perception of the senses, the all-pervading, inconceivable, unchanging, fixed and immovable, the impersonal conception of the absolute truth, by controlling the various senses and being equally disposed to everyone, such persons engaged in the welfare of all, at last achieve me. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Can you please read the purport also, Prabhu? Very short purport.
Okay. Those who do not directly worship the Supreme Godhead, Krishna, but who attempt to achieve the same goal by an indirect process, also ultimately achieve the same goals. Sri Krishna, after many births, the man of wisdom seeks refuge in me, knowing that Vasudeva is all. When a person comes to full knowledge after many births, he surrenders unto Lord Krishna. If one approaches the Godhead by the method mentioned in this verse, he has to control the senses, render service to everyone, and engage in the welfare of all beings. It is inferred that one has to approach the Lord Krishna, otherwise, there is no perfect realization. Often, there is much penance involved before one fully surrenders unto. In order to perceive the super soul within the individual soul, one has to cease the sensual activities of seeing, hearing, tasting, working, etc. Then one comes to understand that the Supreme Soul is present everywhere. Realizing this, one envies no living entity. He sees no difference between man and animal because he sees soul only, not the outer covering. But for the common man, this method is impersonal. Realization is very difficult.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Srinivas Prabhu. So this shloka 12.3 and 12.4, Krishna explains that although worshipping of the personal form is the best worship, the worship of impersonal form is also a path which leads to me only. At last, they also will achieve me only. But how is the two paths different? That is explained in 12.5 onwards. Today we will discuss about worshipping of the impersonal, unmanifest, Brahman. Yetvaksharam anirdeshyam, aksharam anirdeshyam. Aksharam means which is beyond akshara, which is beyond the perception of senses. That is called akshara. See, the impersonal Brahman that we cannot even explain. How is that? For example, if you think of mind, how is the mind? What is the shape of the mind? Can you think about mind? We don't even know where the mind exists in our body. Do you know where the mind exists? No, don't tell me that it is inside brain. That is wrong. Mind and brain are different. Recent studies state that mind is pervaded all over the body because there are different receptors. So the connection with mind and the receptors states that it is present everywhere in the body. So we don't even exactly know where is his mind, where is his consciousness. So similarly, how does that look? It is very subtle thing. Similarly, this Brahman, Krishna, is even higher, obviously. So it is very difficult with our senses and the mind to understand Krishna. That's why this Brahman, impersonal conception of the absolute truth, Krishna, is this Brahman is called Aksharam, which is beyond the perception of senses. And second one is Anirdeshyam. Anirdeshyam means there is no nirdesha, there is no definite way. Anirdeshyam means indefinite. You can't define it. Avyaktam, vyakta. You can't express it also. Paryupasate. Paryupasate means worshipping. So, such an unmanifested, avyakta means unmanifest. Such an unmanifested thing, anirdesham, which is beyond, which is indefinite, and aksharam, which is beyond the perception of the senses. Such an unmanifested, impersonal conception of absolute truth, if one fully worships, paryupasate, who worships such an unmanifested thing, what happens? Sarvatragam achintyam cha. Again, the description, sarvatra gam. Sarvatra means all, everywhere, all pervading. Sarvatra gam means all pervading. This Brahman is present everywhere. Achintyam cha, achintya, which is inconceivable. You can't even conceive, you can't even think about Brahman. It's very, very difficult. This is beyond our existence. We in this material world are just like a simulated virtual reality. This is not actually the true spiritual reality. This is a material realm, which is a reflection of the spiritual realm. So one can consider our existence in this material world as a dream. Though it is not fake, it's not false, it is there, but it is not the very existence. It's just like a dream. It is there, but it doesn't matter whatever happens. We die or we live, or you're happy or you're sad. It doesn't matter. Why? Because do you remember how you are in your past life and the life before that? Do you remember who is your enemy in your past life? No, right? There are millions and millions of lifetimes that we have spent. Every time we were thinking that something would happen and we'll be happy forever later on. But never such thing happened. So such an illusion, this cycle of birth and death in which we are present, for us to understand the reality, the true reality, the absolute truth, Krishna, is very, very difficult. So that's why this Brahman, which is present everywhere, even though it is present everywhere, all pervading, it is inconceivable. It is not visible to us. It is beyond our senses, though it is present everywhere. Everywhere it is present, but it is inconceivable and it is beyond the senses. Achintyam cha, which is not conceivable also. Cha, kutastam means fixed. It is fixed. You can't say that today's news changes, tomorrow's news changes. Every day, different things happen. Different people die, different people take birth. Some exciting things happen, some sad things happen. So every day, somehow or other, the world keeps on changing. The only thing that is fixed and which is absolute is Krishna. This Brahman, the impersonal aspect of Krishna, is fixed. You can't say that it changes. Spiritual aspects doesn't change because they are not under the jurisdiction of time. So they are fixed and also not limited. Kutastam, achalam. Achalam means immovable. Achalam, dhruv. So these are the aspects that are mentioned. And the remaining part is 12.4. Sanniyam yendriya gnamam sarvatra samabuddhaya te prapnuvanti mam eva Sarva Bhuta Hite Ratha. So till now, the first part of this shloka explains the qualities or attributes of the impersonal Brahman. This shloka 12.4 explains how one worships the impersonal Brahman. What is that path? What is the process? Sanniyam Indriya Gramam. Indriya. Sanniyam means controlling of Indriya. Sanniyam Indriya Gramam. One needs to control various senses. See, because one cannot perceive with our senses this Brahman, that doesn't mean that you can't understand, you can't achieve the Brahman, you can't realize what is Brahman. This is a way. And what is that way? One needs to control all the senses, eating or walking or whatever activities that we're doing with our senses, one needs to restrict and control it. Otherwise, we will be locked up, will be bounded with the sense enjoyment and thinking that this is only everything. That is what we are thinking from millions of lifetimes. The next one is Sarvatra Samabuddhaya, and being equally disposed. Samabuddhi, equally disposed to everyone. This is the second one. The third one is Te prapnuvanti mam eva. Te prapnuvanti means they will eventually, certainly, prapnuvanti mam. Mam means they will attain me only. At the end, they will achieve to me only. Who? Sarva bhuta hite rata. This is the third one. Such person, sarva bhuta. Sarva bhuta means everyone. Hite rata means who is engaged in welfare of everyone. Who thinks, who does welfare activities for the good of everyone. Lok Kalyana. So these three are the activities in which one worships impersonal Brahman. That is what Krishna mentions in this shloka. The first aspect is the Brahman is Avyakta, Anirdeshya, Aksharam, Achintyam, and Kutastham, fixed, and Achalam, immovable. These are the attributes of the impersonal Brahman. The second part of the shloka is one needs to control the senses and one needs to rise above the senses. How? By equally disposed to everyone. Understanding and thinking that the soul, super soul, Brahman is present everywhere. Everywhere Brahman is present, because here it is all pervading. Brahman is present everywhere. So you need to treat everyone as Brahman. You need to understand even the dog eater, the Brahmana, or the Kshatriya or the Sudra, or the greatest Brahma, Lord Brahma, who created everything. Everyone, even the small ant, Brahma or the grasshopper, whoever it may be, highest and the lowest, anyone, even though the person, the jiva is present inside the hell, suffering, even them, you need to be equally disposed. Why? Because one needs to understand that the Brahman is all pervading, it is present everywhere. So you need to respect and you need to understand that whatever you're seeing, that's coming from Brahman only. Even though that may be matter, that may be spirit, everything. And also engage in the welfare of all the other beings. Because you see everywhere the Brahman, and you see different people on different levels, though they may not have yet realized Brahman, one engages in the welfare of others, helping them. So in this way, though this is a very difficult path, if one tries and performs worshipping of the impersonal Brahman, even for them also at the end, Krishna assures that they'll achieve me. But what is the problem with this path? That we will see in the next shloka. Here in the purport, if you see, there's a reference from the 7th chapter where Prabhupada explains, after many births, the man of wisdom seeks refuge in me, knowing that Vasudeva is all. Though the process he mentioned here is the worshipping of the impersonal Brahman is an indirect process. Though the result, the goal is Krishna, it is considered to be as an indirect process, and it is very difficult process. Why it is difficult? Because see, we being in this embodied, we are encased in this body, and we see, we perceive, we think in the forms, in the qualities, in the names. It is very, very difficult, and one gets sleep if we start talking about mind, because we don't even know that. So what to talk about Brahman? So this process of worshipping impersonal Brahman is very, very difficult. One needs to cease all the sensual activities, and a lot of penances and difficulties are present in this path. Very difficult. That is mentioned by Krishna himself in the next shloka, 12.5. How the worshipping of impersonal Brahman is a very tedious, troublesome path. We'll see this 12.5 shloka tomorrow. So this is for today. I'll just read the shlokas 12.3 and 12.4. Ye tvaksharam anirdeshyam avyaktam paryupasate sarvatragam achintyam cha kutastham achalam dhruvam sanniyamendriyagnya gramam sarvatra samabuddhaya te prapnuvanti mam eva sarvabhuta hite ratha. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for patiently hearing. After continuing 12.34 and 5 and 6, and after 12.7, we'll see the differences between how worshipping of the impersonal Brahman and worshipping of the personal form as Krishna, what is the advantages and disadvantages. We'll see a table. Till then, we'll slowly analyze one shloka after the another. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, devotees, patiently hearing. If you have any questions or any comments, you can share it with me. We have some time. Anybody has any questions or comments? Okay. Hare Krishna. We'll end here. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Samaveda Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. So we'll continue tomorrow with 12.5. Thank you so much for hearing. Hare Krishna.